cover embedding, and by the end of the section here, the session, hopefully you'll know what this process is, why you might want to do it, and then how you want to do it. So are you all still want to stay in here?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, I just want to make sure, because it's late, it's warm, so you must be dedicated souls, so I'm going to give it my best here. I have we've all been in education for a while as students or teachers or in between, and we've all worked with technology a bit. I sort of have a little bit of reticence of working with Google products, to be honest, because they change so quickly, and then I wonder about how they fit into best practices. Maybe you just get kind of a little bit tired and grumpy of like everything new all the time, and I just want to get my work done sometimes. But on the other hand, there's a lot of exciting things happening. So the first part of my presentation really speaks to the rapid pace that things are happening, and then what we can do kind of metacognitively to think about what we should do in our classrooms. So I think a little talk on the history of publishing, and that kind of meshes with my philosophy of learning and teaching. As a species, we learn to publish when we learn to leave our mark. That's when I think I'm going to call when publishing first began. At first it was crude and there wasn't much message to it, but eventually the stories we're able to tell became more complex. Pictures worth 1,000 words and so forth. Then our pictures became more codified and more durable. There's a little bit more technology involved.
He's not sharing the right screen. Dan, you're not sharing the right page somehow.
I see black as well.
Yeah. He's not sharing the right thing.
Which one am I?
I would just stop sharing and then start again and make sure you're sharing the correct presentation. There you go. That'll work. Should work.
Is everyone signed in?
Is that what you have for my feed now?
Yep.
Okay.
That's just a little preview for Google Hangouts and Hangouts on Air tomorrow. We'll be explaining how all the intricacies of this works. That was actually a stage. Moment.
It was.
Yeah,
That we were pre-flipping the classroom for tomorrow. So does anyone recognize this besides Owen, maybe?
Oh, yeah, interesting book.
What's that?
Interesting book. I was reading.
Yeah, this is a medical text from Middle Kingdom of Egypt. It's the problem with this a lot better than cuneiform, but really only the god kings and priests were able to make any use of it. But then, after quite a while, the profession of inscribers and printers arose. This helped quite a bit, but not so much for the masses, especially those who didn't speak Latin. Some nice pictures, though. And this was the state of things until...
I'm still not getting it.
Have you clicked on the other little window thingy?
Yep.
Let's do Google Slides.
Works for me. I'm seeing that now. Now I get a black screen.
Are you seeing my slide?
I see that. I see just that window.
Just that window?
Yeah.
Is that what's going out to the stream?
Just that window.
Okay. It must be doing something when I go to present mode.
Safari maybe.
Maybe. So you'll see a preview of the slides as I come up. That's okay. The message is what's important. So that was the state of affairs, monks writing and drawing fantastic pictures until 1500s when we had the printing press. And then publishing became a lot more democratized. It didn't take a fortune to buy a book. A family could own a Bible. A family could own whatever other books came out. And I'm showing my ignorance, but books and book reading became a lot more popular and available to the masses. And then we went back to pictures, really finely detailed maps and drawings with lithography where possible. And in the technology march forward, not only could we have fantastic drawings, but the cost of publishing went down even further. And now we could have counter-establishment leaflets made and hung up on the sides of buildings. And it would be okay if the gendarme tore it down because you could plaster it up again 30 seconds later. And then news came to the point where it was published daily, sometimes multiple times in the day. So news and information became to flow at a faster and faster rate. And then type became available to anyone, really almost anyone. I think a typewriter at the time would be like 2 months' salary, certainly a low entry point for someone who was going to be a journalist for a newspaper. That was a state of affairs for quite a while until the first, arguably GUI computer, digital publishing became available. Lou, do you recognize that one?
Oh. Yeah.
Too late. That's a Xerox PARC computer. It's in a museum somewhere now. And then things became really easily printable. Everyone should recognize that one. So where are we today? I mean, these things will just get smaller and faster and lighter and be able to do lots of things. But now we're at the point with Google Apps where we're starting to leave the physical printing mechanisms behind, and we're doing abstract things now. Now when I edit a document or publish a web page, I'm really manipulating electrons somewhere in California or wherever their server farm is. And it's happening faster and faster, and the cost of publishing and printing is going down. So why am I talking about this? Well, what does this have to do? What happens to the expertise there? Where once before you would invest a lot of education and learning into the art of publishing, and you could use that through your entire life, and you could pass that on to your children and they to theirs. And now, what I know in July is going to be stale in September. I have to be constantly learning, and even that kind of skill set, that's too slow. So what we're faced with now is we have to learn how to learn. And so we have to rise above this fray of constant change and basically just deal with it. So instead of things lasting for generations, they last for however long the new version of whatever comes out, which could be rather rapid. So faced with that, if I was to give you some instruction like this, where we're going to talk about embedding, and I was to say, well, the first thing you do when you want to embed a Google chart into your web page is you select the chart object, you enter pencil draw mode, select tiny drop-down angle in the upper right, only available in Chrome after version 25.0.4. Select publish chart, make sure the width attribute is an integer and proportional to the page aspect ratio. Select embed, publish, check publish options, blah, blah, blah. Some of this stuff actually has been sent out with University of OIT memorandum of how to embed for classes and instruction, including change the divs to paragraph markers. Don't use Firefox unless it's Firefox. And they, to be fair, they never said throw salt over your shoulder, but it really became a voodoo practice because things are always changing. And really, if I was to do this, I really would expect you all to leave. So in the face of that, does procedural task teaching even work? I think in this environment, it doesn't. And why? It's because there's too many combinations of things to teach you. The process for embedding a Google Plus post, when you're the owner and you want to put it inside of Google Sites, is the same if everything else remained the same, but you want to put it inside of WordPress. And don't ask if that Google Plus post is inside of a community post, because then you're not allowed to. And it depends on which domain you're in, because your school administrator might not give you permission to do that at all. And if you're trying to share the post with someone who's in another domain, that's also another exception. So what are we to do? Well, I hope I've made it a little simple for you, because in essence, you can boil it all down. I just want to see a show of hands, and I'm going to count backwards. Scale of 1 to 10. I am very confident I know how to embed things. Hands up. 9. I know how to do most everything. Just put your hands up when the right number hits. 7, 6. I'm pretty sure I know what embedding is. 4. I've watched a YouTube on salon.com maybe. I think I've seen an embedded video on CNN. 2, 1. I don't know anything. I'm in the wrong room. Owen. Okay. So here's what I think. This is. Let's start off with sometimes a working definition helps. Basically, embedding is you've got a container, something you want to publish. It's a certain type of something or other, probably words. It might be a series of pictures or whatever. You want to augment that content with something. And so you go to another area on the web where another piece of content resides. You're going to take that and just put it inside one container. There's advantages to doing that. One, your users, your readers, your students, they don't have to follow links and open up different browser windows and do plugin installs. You also don't have to store that file anywhere. When you embed a video, you don't have to worry about how big the file is, unless someone's streaming, but you don't actually have to copy files anywhere. So there's a lot of ease of use. The other big plus to it is that whatever, if it's like a spreadsheet and someone makes a change on the spreadsheet and you have that inside your class, say schedule, Owen and I are working with an individual instructor like this, he's going to make changes to his schedule all through the semester. So instead of updating a web page, he just goes to a spreadsheet and then 30 seconds later it travels through and whoever reads it gets it updated. So 2 really big advantages there. That's sort of the working definition of it. This is really all there is, not to cut my talk short here, but I'm actually trying to cut my talk short. This is what embedding the whole process is. The destination is the web page you ultimately want your folks to look at and read. Let's say it was a post of some sort, class announcements, front page of something or other. You want to record yourself in a video talking to your audience. It's going to be recorded somewhere else. Instead of sending them over there to watch it, you get the embed code and you put it on your web page. That's the end of my talk. Okay. It can get a little bit more, remember back a few slides to this. We still live in this world, and so we have to deal with that situation. But I think, again, my goal is that you'll be able to deal with this and be able to figure out new things when they come up, hopefully. You can send me angry emails if it doesn't work that way for you. So this is really my workflow when I do embedding. You still have the same thing where you're going to grab your source information, and it's eventually going to end up inside the web page you're working at. But what you need to do, this is called like grabbing the embed code, and usually there's a typical icon that it looks like a sharing action. I'll show you an example in a second. And there's always options. How wide you want it to be, what kind of controls you want it to have. Do you want it to show suggested or related material? Do you want it to freeze whatever version of the thing is you're sending? There's all sorts of options. If you're going to embed a calendar, do you want to show week view, month view, day view, agenda view, time zones? There's too much to deal with. But there's usually give you little checkboxes and things to make it easy. So you get your options, putting in your clipboard. Can everyone? You should have hit that one with the 1s or 2s for the embed. That's the easiest way to put it in there. Although at times I will dump this into a text editor if I want to see what some options are, or put some of my own sneaky options in there to see if I can make something work. And then now we're over on the web page. Most places where you put web content and publish these days, there's 2 ways to do it. One is like the raw codey kind of, the programmer type HTML, but there's usually a visual twin editing page that lets you just kind of WYSIWYG edit the web page. So Google Sites is like that. But whenever there's a visual element to it, they always give you some way to, I shouldn't say always, but most of the time, they give you a way to get into the code. So to be successful at this, you do not have to understand all the code. Not that it's hard to understand, it's just it can get kind of involved, and sometimes it's very hard to read because there aren't any, it's not meant to be read by us, just the formatting is awful and everything runs together. But it's easy to see where you want it to go. So you know if you want your YouTube video to be the third paragraph down, then you just kind of put it where it needs to go. And then you save and you're done. So let me show you a couple examples of this process. And then we're going to break up into groups, and I think this is one of those things where hearing me talk is not going to really benefit you that much. So I don't know if folks had a chance to read the description of the session, but if you haven't already, please think of some things that you actually want to work on. And if not, you just split up with folks who are just here to learn in general, and I'm going to give you some assignments to do. So here's a couple examples. I went through and grabbed a bunch of different sources and put them in 2 containers to show you a little bit of the variability. So this is, no, it's not. Yes, it was.
That's your Google site.
Yes, this is Dan's BS Alaska Google Sites page. Sandbox for me. So this first embed is from a calendar. And this is, anyone in the world can see what my appointments are. I could put that on my my office hours page, and people can see whether it's I'm going to be somewhere. This next one is an embed from Docs. It's a document that Owen and I were working on. It's just simply a Google Drive doc, basically a Word doc type of thing. This next one is nice parabola. This is a chart from a Google Sheets that I just embedded the chart, not the data itself. I have an option to do that. Embed from G+. Ironic that we're on a Google product here, and I had a Google post, a G+ post I made, and Google Sites will not show its own products post. Oh well, find another way. This little moving diddly-bop here, that's another Google Slides presentation. The reason why there's some motion there is because that's an animated GIF. Now I realize a lot of school districts don't have the benefit of this one, but this adds a lot of instructor presence to your classes if you want to try flipping the material or introducing domain knowledge to your students. This is a good way to just talk to them, let them know what's important, what's coming up. Anyway, just a silly old YouTube video. You can see this embed from Twitter didn't actually quite come through. This one did, and I won't play it for you, but this is a good example of really an alternate. Not many people think about it, but you can embed things like sound. So if I'm doing music history and I want to play something from Wolfie, then there it is. I searched it, found it, and there it is. There's lots of things like that at a site like archive.org, and you can embed lots of things there too. Here's something from Google Trends. I wanted to, let's say I was doing something in marketing, and I just am curious about these are searches that people typed in for movies for the month of June in the US. So that probably has some relevancy to the profitability of those movies. Okay, same thing inside of another container. Same exact embed code put inside here. Google Calendar doesn't work. The doc did. I forget what this one was. Oh, the sheets, that didn't work. This is what the Google Plus post looks like. The slides was the size I intended it to be. YouTube came through okay. There's my Twitter post from Hoodoo. And sound thing came through. Okay, so that's embedding in action. And normally, like a web page, you wouldn't have all that stuff there, but it's all there. So let me show you. I'm going to go back to the Dan BS page. And the first thing I'm going to do is go over, and I should. Okay, y'all recognize this is my Google Calendar from University of Alaska. It's my main calendar. It's the same one I had embedded before. So what I want you to concentrate on here is my main method. I'm going to first get the embed code, set my options, copy it, and then I'm going to place it in the container. Don't worry too much about the details. You guys are going to help yourselves figure it out, and we have internet access. Between the 2 or 3 of you, you'll be able to figure it out. I hope. We'll see. And then Owen and myself can help you if you do run into some engineering too. So this particular procedural thing is just for Google Calendar. So this is me here. I'm going to share this calendar. And oddly, you'd think Embed would be under Share. It's not. It's under Calendar Details. And under Embed this calendar section, I can customize. This is the code right here I would copy, and whatever Google thinks I should use, that's it right there. But I'm not satisfied. So I'm going to hit Customize, and now it gives me the code. And you can see it's not that readable, but if I poke around, I could see a couple things like the width and height. And this is a preview of what it would look like. Over here are all my options, and I tend to want things as simple as possible. So I'm going to start deleting things here. Everyone's in the same time zone. I don't care about that. And I only want to, I already did the week view. Let's do the agenda view. This might be great for a class that we could show upcoming due assignments. And I'm going to set this to 500 by 375. Actually, probably this might look good on a sidebar, so I'll probably scrunch this up a little bit to 300 by 600. Okay, that's more appropriate. And the rest of the functions are okay and good. So I grab all of the text, copy it, go back over to my Google Sites. Now I'm on the second to last stage there. I'm going to try and get into the HTML mode part of that thing. So up here, Google Sites lets me get in there and it says edit HTML source. Other places will have something similar, maybe not exactly the same. I click on that and you can see now I'm looking at the code, and I just paste it in there. That's now inside Google Sites. Update and save it. And there, I successfully embedded the calendar there. So any kind of questions up to this point? Yeah.
Can you go back to where you got the source code from again, that workflow?
What are you wondering about specifically, how I did it, or?
Yeah, specifically how you did it, how you went into the calendar to get that source code.
Okay. I'll help you if you want to do some calendar embeds. The reason that I don't want to like go through step by step is because if you used iCal, it would be different. If you want to import from YouTube, it's going to be very different, or SoundCloud. It's so specific, and with Google, it could change next week. So that's the thing, is you just have to, I just take a deep breath and just start poking around and figure, okay, where is this thing? I mean, it didn't make any sense at all. I wanted to embed it, so it should be under share. That's where every other program has their embed code, but they have it under settings for some reason. Maybe it was an early product or a different development team thought it would go there and no one updated it. This is kind of typical Google stuff. So when I have you guys working in groups, inevitably you're going to come up with a specific question. How do I do X? How do I get that code? So that's why I'm going to put you in teams where you're going to work together. You can Google it. Ask Google for how do I embed Google Calendar Week View? And look at some of the top hits, maybe be a little, try and figure out when they were published, maybe search by date. Ask your teammates, and then ask the resources here. But try not to get hung up on the details because they're not important and they're going to change anyway. Trust me.
Well, a quick question is, you mentioned iCal, that works. Google Calendar works. Within the realm of calendars, I'm running out of calendars, but is that, generally you can do this with most of them?
It's getting to be where if you have something that's publishable on a web, some kind of cloud company, whatever they do, generally they want, their whole business model exists on sharing and getting people to use their service. And so almost everything these days has a share function. And usually it's also like tweet it out, share with Facebook, and also embed. So usually there's some built-in way to do it. And that's where when you search, how do I do this? Most of the articles will point you in these very specific things. And most of them, it's a lot easier to do. Let me show you YouTube. YouTube makes a lot more sense. And I apologize, I know that there's some frustration with school districts that you can't use YouTube in there, but it does make a lot of sense. Okay, here is.
I can't see that page, Dan.
Okay, thank you for letting me know. I'm going to stop sharing this one and share that one. All right. So it's even easier directly on the YouTube page, but if you see it, this was embedded on my personal website. A lot of them will have similar thing. This little icon here, it means to me like one person has it, they give it to two people, and they give it so on. So anyway, that's their little share icon. This is the direct link. That's the short link. I could just copy that and I wouldn't have to go here anymore. But then this little button over here says more. Oh, it takes me over to YouTube.
I'm Daniel Soda. This is Advanced Algebra Unit 3.
We'll stop that nonsense. So under share right here, same little icon. And no, actually I want more. Nope, that's not what I want.
It's actually both. If you close the share thing, it was there.
You did close it. There you go.
Embed.
Yep. So there is embed. And now here's again, Google wants me to, it just assumes, and it usually takes a good guess on YouTube, but there's my code, and then I can show some more, and it gives me the preview. Now remember my diagram of get the code, select the options? Here we are, down here. And here's a good classroom management talking point here. anytime it gives you, like, the service generally wants you to keep using the service. So my friends call this going down the rat hole, where you start off watching some physics experiment movie about a cyclotron, and then you're watching something about a mass accelerometer, and then before you know it, you're watching people fight each other with paint guns and yell "ow" back and forth, and like you don't know where the last 2 hours of your life went. Yeah. Our students have this problem today, so we really try and make it easy on them as possible. So I never show suggested videos when the video finishes, never. And that's one of the benefits of embedding things into your own web page, is that you become the curator. You give your students a very quiet place to look at content that you selected for them to watch, instead of whatever's trending, whatever, you know, just keep them away from that nonsense. Like, they'll get there 5 minutes later anyway, but you don't have to help them. So you can select all those things, and then I would grab this code, copy it, and follow the same steps. Most things are this, they're much more sane on this end of the spectrum. Google Calendar is, well, to use the expression, it's on the spectrum, but on the spectrum. So let me get back to the directions for pretty much the remainder here. And we might all right, so I want you to group up with like you three back there, and then maybe the three of you, and then you three could work together. You 3 teams of 3. And the tasks that I want you to do, you guys are going to create a website. If you don't really like Google Sites, don't use it, use whatever you want. But since we're at a Google Summit, you might get some practice in Google Sites. Use an existing one. I want a page for each person, and you should be able to get in there and I'll edit it, figure out where you're sharing it. Each person is going to create 1 page, and what I want you to do is find 3 sources of information to embed into the web page. So for example, I could get a spreadsheet, probably can't go to YouTube. So let's say a spreadsheet, a calendar, and a tweet. Sorry.
And if they don't have access to sites, you want them to use something like WordPress?
If you don't, someone probably in the group does, and just enable it to let anyone in the world edit it, and then you can get in there and edit it. So go ahead and get started on that.
Check your email and you should have a site.
What's that?
Sites allow that kind of
Yes, Sites allows that.
collaboration, even though you have to hit save.
You go in and edit. Well, you go ahead and use it.
Because I'm coming with it.
Okay. I'm throwing you guys into the deep end of the pool here.
What is your
On
name,
purpose.
sir? What is your email? I guess I'll get you.
You can raise your hands when you're traveling. We'll get you on the third go.
Do a site and share
Create a
it.
new site.
Sure.
Okay, you should have an email.
I'm creating sites. It's beneficial.
Do you want me to?
That will help me.
If you'd like to.
The one I did before is that what is good is good.
And we have to have a calendar page and then.
You got access to sites still?
My question is in the.
Anything is fine. You were saying a calendar, tweet, and page. Google.
Okay.
The question is, if you embed a calendar, is it just that particular week, or will they be able to see
Yeah, you
whatever?
can choose between that week, you can bet a day,
So we may
that
not
month,
be-
you can choose the parameters. and find
So
the
you
instruction.
So they won't be able to continue to see it.
Yeah, and it depends on how you different.
The
Want to
teacher
show,
it's a
monthly calendar, you can have school classroom.
but
You just have the access
the
month.
week in
And
the
then there would be a month change.
Sure.
Or it's a whole calendar. and they
teachers,
just go
yeah,
forward,
that's
there's
all
no-
we're gonna be able
It's
to.
just a-
March and think that not many teachers.
So we end at 3:30. There are some prizes available.
It's a little different, it's a, I used to see one here, just.
I don't know.
I'm looking for the email.
I should have just, you should have received it.
Okay.
Did you get it?
I'm in.
Well, it's my Google account is coming to ask me.
I would know that. I also just.
Where did it come from? What's your?
Dean Lambert.
Yeah,
What's the able to search for Dean Lambert?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no.
The session before this was.
I think
no record.
And it
Oh,
didn't actually create it, maybe tomorrow. they have it.
I will resend it.
There are a lot of things.
I think these people are.
Yeah. What's that?
I think these people that are.
Yeah, yes. I think we have enough. Point every call.
AKAIPeople.com.
And everything looks different now
Well,
when I.
So we're used to some of their products. The location of things and how things look.
Well, it's like 9,000.
Send it again.
Fresh. Scrolling,
Create.
I think that's what I called mine, it's code, not Mark.
Put a bunch of mistakes in it. I'll put enough in my own.
URL and the calendars. When you got my view and the calendar.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And but you can embed it in the docs. And that's it.
Well.
I didn't even read the whole page. How bad is that? I might be able to edit it.
Chart.
Create.
But it's a chart, doc. Well, I'm just like,
I don't do charters, so.
And I was trying to embed the calendar from my institutional account. The calendar that is brought up
I go to
actually
insert.
Yeah, personal.
consumer,
Okay.
which is why there's nothing there.
Can you then go back to your calendar?
But that's not the same as a chart.
That's my institutional
Calendar.
calendar.
Then,
And I went into
Is it on the slide?
calendars. I clicked on my institutional calendar down here in the embed,
Yeah, save it.
customize.
And so it doesn't actually.
That.
No, and this was the problem I was running into yesterday. I was complaining about putting a
And I
chart.
know that because looking over here, it says
Oh,
as
so
a
does he want us to each?
What's that?
Let me get out of here.
You're in good
Can't
spot.
put that chart.
Right, but the
You
problem
can't
is, back to the calendar. This is my institutional calendar. Right, yeah.
But I can't.
Because my consumer one has a different icon. So you see I have stuff. I go in here, go to settings.
But if I'm using
The calendars.
sites, I would
I
be
choose
able
my
to all be
institutional calendar.
these two.
It'll lock out.
I'm down here to the embed and the customize. I go into the customize. That is my consumer calendar.
Go back.
Yeah. What is it?
Well, earlier,
Code accessible.
So I can't defend what I'm.
Yes, you got the page settings. You want
So what I do, I just show you the way I do it. This calendar is being displayed.
Okay, so how do
So
I-
that's the problem calendar. If you hover over that and then drop down the button and then calendar. Calendar details and. Okay, scroll down.
Instructions for first, you gotta find
There you go.
whatever it is you want. This is your. And probably.
Oh, yeah.
And putting you.
There's nothing in it, which means that is my
Do a
consumer
little bit of reverse.
calendar.
Okay.
That's-
Where are you going to put it? Okay, what is it? I'll go grab.
Can you try logging out or using a different browser for, this? You might be logging to two at the same time. So if you're logged into your consumer account and your institution account, I might be getting confused.
I am, because I'm in YouTube on my,
Yeah, so go ahead and hit sign out. My practice is I use one browser for my institutional browsing, and I use another browser for my private browsing, my personal stuff. So I never cross the streams.
well, see, that, I usually don't either. I usually only enter one account at a time, but since I've been here doing this,
Yeah, I think it's good.
I've linked them, by adding an account.
Well, so when you have Google Chrome and then you have Firefox, you can use Firefox for one and then Chrome for the other.
Yeah, there's.
And I think if you try that again, signed out, you'll tell me what results you get.
Well,
I add it every day.
So,
So you'll have to re-sign. You're not.
I can.
So if we want, I was thinking, okay, go get CRCD.
Uh-huh.
So I have it shown on my other calendar, but do I have to actually go to CRCD?
No, if that's the calendar you want to show, then do the drop down arrow to the side there.
So keep
Calendar settings. And then it's right there, and you can customize it with that link right there.
Right.
Change whatever you want.
And then, yeah, oh, if you went here.
And
That's
does
where.
it do this partial from the ID?
No, it
Maybe
doesn't
someone else
give
should
you
put a
anything.
calendar.
You have to sort of know, like,
Something else.
you want to tell them skinny or square, or, you want it on the sidebar, you want to tell them skinny, depends on what you want to show. Like a month view would look horrible, tell them skinny. So,
That's
I thought I just answered my question. How long does it work? So I've got some code here.
okay.
Yes.
I want to put it on. Is that what I do?
Yes, I was.
You would want to put it,
Yes,
go from the HTML, you
I
have
logged out of everything and then just went back in.
between the two separators there.
Just
Yes.
basically.
No,
Oh, I'm sorry.
use the arrow.
Oh.
Okay.
I am signed in, and I'm signed in under my
Okay, so
institutional
what you
account.
get?
It's a Google Plus.
Okay, so this is one of the weird exceptions.
Yeah.
There's the one that you showed.
Yeah, that's the one I showed that didn't work.
Okay.
So,
I can go somewhere else.
yeah, I grabbed something.
Okay.
But that's how you, if you have the right code.
Okay.
yes,
But putting it in between those two was
It
the.
has things in it.
Yes.
So I did it
Some-
both ways, both
depends
going
again
through
on
settings
the,
and going here, so.
why would I go
Right here.
Okay.
But generally, you want to put it between those two. The first one is an open tag.
I don't-
The one with the slash in front of it is closed.
Okay.
So when someone should see a P, that's in
Customize.
Okay.
and then div is just
This.
division.
This.
Another one here.
Right.
So everything has to be
Okay,
balanced.
scroll down for a minute, because when I
Whatever.
Something else.
I don't know if it's just the way it's set up.
Maybe for the sake of
Calendar.
brevity,
So that's the thing,
you
is
could
that's
Check
my
it.
consumer.
you could open up a slide, that's one that works well.
Sorry, I'm
So
using
Google
this.
Slides where it generated some
That's fine.
conference you previously.
Now scroll back up and something and see how things are appearing, or click
Yeah.
on something,
So,
right, but just click on something to see if it works.
Okay.
So where's the?
Okay.
Okay, it doesn't, no, that's on.
Oh, so you don't go to share.
Okay, so you see,
Actually, go to sharing.
Oh, yes, my institutional here. Okay.
Go to the actual sharing.
And when you go to calendar settings,
Okay.
see how specific this is
So I
here? Oh, and then click on that.
Okay, I missed the customized part, so I couldn't get to this page and that's what was throwing me off.
Right.
I don't want to see it.
I don't,
And I'm not sure if you use that out.
The first like 5 minutes.
Yeah, I don't have the account. And just as Google site, when you really shouldn't be putting.
So all I had was
I can see that's like public knowledge.
So now, instead of it should say the details of our calendar.
What good is that?
Why I thought it was my personal calendar, I will share my personal calendar because it's just too crazy to do that.
Thank you.
Yes.
do you have the code?
Very good, I did something. I got an income.
I think I need to go back to the site and check to see if that embedded things. I wasn't sure if that was working. I asked the question of the embedded and I don't
Yeah, you have
moved it.
Something.
Something also out there. Then easier for me to manage.
No, if there's a. Yeah,
And then I put a constant here.
Like, do you only have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages?
Okay, so here's the weird thing. That email that you sent me,
Yes.
Yes.
to the institution, never
That
mind.
one actually wouldn't be too hard to use. I mean, just in the way you do it by hand.
Maybe I'll just try to
I've
publish
seen
it
PDFs.
Then unpublish it.
Well, see if it comes up once it's published instead of maybe in the preview.
I wouldn't rely much on that preview.
Yeah, and this one I pulled up. Two right next to each other.
It's not as simple as just like copying files. But it wouldn't be too hard to reproduce.
I remember that this calendar setting, this will display, even though
But if you're gonna use.
you will have this on your site.
They have large.
This will be nothing.
Actually.
Calendar.
There's other.
So you can still be successful in this.
Right, that's
In
what
today's
I'm saying.
activity.
Studies in Blackboard system.
You sent me a message.
What your plans are, but.
My concern would be the maintenance, just how easy it is to update. One is I use it for it's okay, but if you have to grab it easier, more efficiently.
Yeah.
Like all this.
So this is Google Sites.
This is not the Google site, it's a district domain. So I use the Power Editor that within the Power.
So now that I'm in the site page,
Double check.
and do I just insert another
Yeah,
calendar?
I'm sure this is very
What seems to be weird is the way that he was demonstrating it up there.
Yeah, so once you
At least
save,
with the site that I have, I can go to insert and it's asking me, I can do all of these. It makes it. Yeah, he explains. And it was like, so if I wanted to insert something from a document to Drive, it'll like directly to my.
That is, I think the reason I showed you the embed code is because that is just the, not just like WordPress.
Right.
That's anything, that's a standard
Okay.
across the web.
I
And
got you.
WordPress is not gonna have the same stuff that, for
Okay.
example,
But I guess, in somewhere, if you're creating a website, somewhere it will have like embed this here, and then you will like take that embed code.
like, what, recently there's.
I can do all kinds.
Like embedded in.
Right, so then you have the publish.
Because like pulling the embed code from here.
There it is.
For example, WordPress only allows embed codes from certain sources.
Okay.
So they have to be kind of trusted already.
Right.
I was trying to put an embed code from.
So if I wanted to take my Google Calendar and
That's
put it
the
in any other
endpoint, so where it
website,
says
Google
slash,
site,
that's the.
I would have to
So
copy
is
it.
this
Yeah.
the first opening?
Like, there's this,
So you want to.
animated impression site called.
That's the one.
If he can, IFYCAT, it's mostly full of junk. But it, what it does, you can put give it a video or a PDF, and then you press it.
Oh, okay.
This is like
The newest web app video, like really small video files. And I wanted to make that kind of level the screencast animation here, that's really quick video actually. I wanted to put that in WordPress, talk to it, could do it, couldn't do it, and you can change the animation, or could do it.
We're getting, thank you.
WordPress just doesn't allow it. WordPress just won't take that code from this kind of non-standard stuff. So I had to use a div and size. So yeah, everything is gonna have.
Would you like to keep working for the last 5 minutes, or would you like to wrap up with a little discussion and question and answer? Your choice.
Work.
Okay, go ahead, keep working. Good luck.
So we created a page.
I'm out of here.
Created but I don't see where to embed the.
So I went to, use my Google
I moved on to the HTML.
That's not
I'm not even gonna
Oh, okay, sure.
So he's put a calendar. I created a page and his calendar. Put my calendar.
So I did not right now. Here's your navigation here, and there's your formatting bar right there. And that little caption is now HTML. That brings up
At gmail.com.
Yeah.
He said google.com.
Must be totally.
Yeah, and I don't know,
That's what I was.
yeah, I think we can look at that.
And then.
I'm not sure, I don't know if that's,
For such a large district.
no, but I don't know that that's.
Okay, well, I was successful
You should
in
have received it
putting
now.
in the calendar, it just wasn't mine.
That's okay. You got, but essentially that's it. So
Okay.
to get the real calendar.
I know.
Well, I think it's, I'm gonna have to clear
Or
confusing
just
cache
hit
because
refresh.
it keeps, even though I'm in my institutional account, it keeps
And
pulling
you get
up
it
my
back to the email.
One thing I've seen before is like when if you hit save password and log in whenever, like your browser will try and help you get logged in anytime it says there, just authenticates and puts it in.
Well, I don't save any of passwords.
Okay, but as long as it's responding.
Well.
Wow, yeah, so again, this is the first time I've ever,
Use Google Sites.
well, the first time I've ever used Google Sites, but I've had this problem with other sessions. This is the first time that I've added my consumer account to my institutional one in my login pane, yeah. So I've never had them linked before, so this is kind of new.
Yeah, well, steep learning curve sometimes.
I guess here, the past 2 days, people have confusing their personal Gmail with their institutional stuff. This is the first I've ever had a problem. I mean, I don't know if the way that I do it is too different, but they're in like 2 separate